What we're looking at in this video is two things to do with databases. One of them is tables and the other one is keys. And so the first thing we do is we go back to our films table, and tables in a database look like tables. They're what you expect a table to be, and this is our tables of films. Remember that the key star is someone who appears in a different table, so they will have a number, that will be the actor, and the same with the director. And so that's what a table looks like when you're entering in data, and then on the back end of a database you will have somewhere where you can set up that table. And the key things, or should I say the important things which you're telling the computer, are you're telling it the name of the field, so that would be like the column name, so the field name, and you're also telling it the data type. And the reason it needs to know the data type, it needs to know how much space on the database to make available to store that piece of data. Now here there's some special data types which we need to know about just for databases. So the auto number means it will automatically assign a free number. So what often happens in a database, I want to make sure that one of my columns is always identical. And so in this case here, I've got a column which I've created called ID, and I will give a different ID number to every single record in the database. I couldn't use year because some films might be made in the same year. I couldn't even use title because it's possible that two directors might choose the same title. So I create an ID field, and that becomes my primary key. And this here, the little key symbol here, means that I've made this field the primary key. Now it might be possible that I could use other fields. So what primary means is that's the field which I've chosen to use to make all of my records unique. And that's what a relational database does, is it means every single row must be unique. It must be different to another row. And it's normally an ID field or something which does that for you. So that's what the auto number does. It creates an automatic number which will always be different to the other numbers which are in this table. Text is fairly obvious what it does. It's going to allow you to type text in. Numbers, again, it's going to let you put a number in. And here's the other options which we've got. Yes, no could be called a Boolean, and date time could be stored as an integer in Microsoft Access, which is what this is. You can have dates and times stored differently as their own data type. So this time we're looking at our directors table, and we have the directors themselves, plus we have their ID numbers. And then when we look at the design for this table, all we notice is that there is a primary key on this ID again, because two directors could potentially share the same name. So we've created another field, and that's acting as our primary key. And then we'll look at the other table which we've got, which is our actors table. And on this one, we've got the actor with their date of birth. So their date of birth is going to be date time here. And again, we've got this ID field here, which we are storing and making into the primary key. Now it's interesting at this point to look at how all of these tables work together, and they work together with their relationships. And so here we can see we've got the primary key on the ID field for the films, and we've got the primary keys for directors and actors. And what we're doing is we're storing here, where we've got a director, we store that that director's got an ID number, and then we can go and look up who that director is in the directors table. So this one here, where we're storing the primary key of a different table, we call this one and this one the key star. Well, that's going to be storing the primary key of another table. We call these ones here foreign keys. So the director and key star here, where we're storing the key of another table, they're called foreign keys. This one here is the primary key. And again, in these tables, this is the primary key, and this is the primary key here. So the primary key is the field that has unique values. and it will make every single record unique. If there's more than one, then the primary key is the one which we've chosen to be the field that we will select to identify each of the records. The foreign keys are the ones where inside a table we are using to use the primary key of another table in order to look up information and join tables together.